Hello dear students, last class we have discussed about interference of light, and today we are going to discuss about diffraction of light. Now what is the meaning of this diffraction of light? You just consider a light source. This is the light source. It can emit the light in all possible directions. Now I am going to place an obstacle in front of this light source. So here, this is nothing but obstacle. And I am going to consider a screen. So in front of this obstacle, so this is the screen. So here I am going to observe the light rays which are falling on this screen. So instead of considering in all different directions, I am going to consider the light rays which are moving towards this screen. So I already told you this light source emit light rays in all possible directions. Now I am going to consider the light rays which are moving only towards this screen in order to analyze this phenomena. Now the light rays are reaching this screen. So like this, light rays are going to meet this screen. Direction of light rays. That means we can observe some bright region on the screen because the light rays are falling on this screen from this light source. Similarly, suddenly we will not get any dark region beyond this bright region. Here also we will get some bright region, but the intensity of this bright region is less than the intensity of this part. So here this light ray here we will get some bright region, but the intensity of this bright region is less than this part of the screen. So here also we will get a bright region, not with a high intensity but with a less intensity. So here we can observe the shadow of this obstacle. Here we can observe shadow of the obstacle. Here this light ray is bending around this obstacle. Here this light ray is bending around this obstacle. If light ray passes like this and then again it bends around this obstacle. So few light rays are going to bend around the corner of this obstacle, and hence it creates some bright region with a less intensity beyond this part. The phenomenon of bending of light waves around the obstacle and entering into the geometrical shadow of the obstacle. This phenomenon is nothing but diffraction of light. So this is our light source, our source of light. Obstacle, screen, this is the bright region, and this represents shadow of the obstacle. So beyond this point, the intensity of light decreases. You just imagine yourself. Now I am going to consider a cardboard. Now I am going to make a hole to this cardboard. I am going to illuminate a torch light through this hole, and I am going to place a screen in front of this cardboard. When I am going to illuminate the hole by using a torch light, obviously we will get some bright spot on the screen. If you are going to observe the bright spot, this is the cardboard. Light source. Light is made to pass through this hole. Then we will get some bright region on the screen. If you are going to observe the bright region on the screen, the size of this bright region on the screen is slightly greater than the size of this hole. Actually, we should get the bright region on the screen. The size of that bright region is equal to size of this hole. But we will not get like that, because here size of this bright spot on the screen, that is slightly greater than size of this hole, because that is due to bending nature of light. So light rays are going to bend around this obstacle. So here a hole, it is as like as an obstacle, or you can say aperture. This nature of light is known as a diffraction of light. Bending nature of light waves around the obstacle and entering into the geometrical shadow of the obstacle. That phenomenon is known as the diffraction of light. Note on the definition: diffraction, diffraction of light. The phenomenon of bending of light waves around the obstacle and entering into the geometrical shadow of the obstacle. So he is known as diffraction of light. So there are two types in diffraction of light: Fresnel diffraction and Fraunhofer's diffraction. There is no much more details about Fresnel diffraction and Fraunhofer's diffraction in your syllabus. In brief, just understand the differences between the Fresnel diffraction and Fraunhofer's diffraction. Types of diffraction. Fresnel's diffraction, Fraunhofer's diffraction. Now, what are the differences between Fresnel diffraction and Fraunhofer's diffraction? Usually in case of Fresnel diffraction, we are going to consider converging or diverging beam of light. That means usually we are going to consider a spherical wavefront or cylindrical wavefront in case of Fresnel diffraction. Simply just remember the differences. Spherical or cylindrical wavefront. We know that diverging light beam produces divergent spherical wavefront, converging light beam produces converging spherical wavefront. That means when those sources are at finite distance, we have already discussed about this thing. So, in case of Fresnel diffraction, source and screen. So, here screen is nothing but the screen at which we can observe diffraction pattern. I will explain about this diffraction pattern. Again, this diffraction pattern is nothing but arrangement of dark and bright fringes. Source and screen are at finite distance from the obstacle. So, here source and screen are at infinite distance from the obstacle. Nature of the wavefront. Finite means we will get a spherical or cylindrical. Spherical or cylindrical wavefront. Are used. So source at infinite distance means only we will get plane wavefront. That means parallel light beam. Parallel light beam represents plane wavefront because source lies at infinite distance. So here plane wavefront is used, or if you want to convert parallel light beam, here convergent light beam. Then experimental arrangement of Fresnel's diffraction and Fraunhofer's diffraction. Experimental arrangement, light source, if you want you can plot this diagram. Fresnel diffraction, bending nature of the light around the obstacle. So this divergent light beam represents diverging spherical wavefront. Diverging spherical wavefront. Source, obstacle, screen. So this is nothing but experimental arrangement of Fresnel diffraction. Then a Fraunhofer's diffraction. See here, in case of Fraunhofer's diffraction, source lies at infinite distance. Source lies at infinite distance means nature of the light rays from that source are parallel to each other. That means here we are going to prefer parallel light beam that represents source is at infinite distance. Now instead of considering the source at finite distance, infinite distance. So here I am going to consider a source at finite distance. So here we will get a divergent light beam. Now I am going to pass this divergent light beam through this convex lens. So then here we will get a parallel light beam. Parallel light beam. So here parallel light beam means by extrapolating these rays in a backward direction. By extrapolating these light rays in backward direction, we can say they are going to meet at infinite distance. That means that seems to be a source is at infinite distance. Again, if you are going to proceed these rays in forward direction, again they are going to meet at infinite distance. It is not possible to view the diffraction pattern at infinite distance. So again, to bend these light rays, to converge these light rays, I am going to prefer another convex lens. Convex lens. Screen. So here this is the obstacle. At an elevation we will get different spots on the screen. So these are some spots on the screen. So that gives a diffraction pattern in case of Fraunhofer's diffraction. So this is a source, obstacle, screen. So this is the experimental arrangement of Fraunhofer's diffraction, Fresnel diffraction and Fraunhofer's diffraction. So there is no much more details about Fresnel and Fraunhofer's diffraction. You just remember. So in competitive examination, sometimes they may ask about this. Then if you have the knowledge about this one, then easily you can face the questions. So next one, diffraction at a single slit. So this is also important. For 5 marks they are going to ask about a diffraction at single slit. So let us consider the experimental arrangement. So this is the obstacle. So let us consider the parallel light beam. So parallel light beam that represents plane wavefront. So this is the plane wavefront. Parallel light beam, obstacle, plane wavefront. We know that every point on the wavefront acts as a new sources of disturbances are known as secondary wavelets. This plane wavefront contains a large number of vibrating particles. They are going to vibrate in their position with the same phase. they are going to spread the disturbance in all possible directions. Now plotting the tangent in the forward direction to these secondary wavelets gives a new wavefront. That wavefront is known as secondary wavefront. Now next, secondary wavefront, secondary wavefront, secondary wavefront, secondary wavefront. Now the plane wavefront is at this point, aperture. So here this plane wavefront contains a large number of vibrating particles. These are the vibrating particles. Let us say AB with the plane wavefront or AB with a slit that represents a slit. Here this slit contains a plane wavefront. This plane wavefront contains large number of vibrating particles. These are the particles. And screen is placed in front of this slit. A screen is placed in front of the slit. So let us consider the vibrating particle A and vibrating particle B. Instead of considering the large number of vibrating particles, I am going to prefer these two vibrating particles. So in order to analyze this phenomena in a simple manner, I am going to prefer vibrating particle A and vibrating particle B. So this is the center of the screen. Let us say this point to be the center of the screen. The light wave from A and B to reach this point, the distance traveled by the light wave from A to this point and distance traveled by the light wave from B to this point. Let us say this point is O. Direction. The position of this point from the center of the slit. So this is the position of the point from center of the slit. You just observe the distance traveled by the light wave from A to O and distance traveled by the light wave from B to O. Both are same. They are traveling same distance. In order to reach this point on the screen, therefore path difference between these two light waves is equal to 0. If a path difference is equal to 0, here we will get a phase difference is also equal to 0. Phase difference and path difference is equal to 0, then the light waves from these two vibrating particles, they undergo constructive superposition or constructive interference, and hence they produce a bright region on this screen. At the center of this screen, bright region at the center of the screen. In this diffraction, bright region or bright fringe is named as maximum. Here maximum is nothing but bright fringe. Maxima is nothing but bright fringes. Dark fringe, minimum. Dark fringes, minima. Minima means dark fringes. Maxima is nothing but bright fringes. So here we will get a bright fringe at the center of the screen, and hence this is known as central bright maximum. This is known as central bright maximum. central bright maximum. Similarly, light rays are going to meet at different points on this screen. So this is the bright maximum means, that is a bright fringe means. Next we will get a dark, then bright, dark, bright, dark, bright, as like as interference pattern. So let us consider a position at an elevation theta. So this is the point on the screen. Let us say P, direction of the light waves. Position of point P from the center of the slit. Position of the slit from center of the position of point P from the center of the slit. So here P may be the minimum or maximum. It may be a dark fringe or bright fringe, we don't know. Only depending upon the conditions what we are going to get in case of phase or path difference. On that basis we can say that P is a bright fringe or maximum, dark fringe, minimum, like that. Now we should analyze that path difference in case of this situation. In order to say this P is a maximum or minimum. Now write the brief explanation about this diagram. So there P is the point on the screen at an elevation theta. Now these dotted segments are easy to analyze the angular position of this point P from O. Let us say the path difference between these two light waves, A to O, B to O, path difference is equal to 0. Now the light waves traveling from A to P, B to P, clearly BP is greater than AP. There should be a path difference in between these two light waves from A to P and B to P, which are traveling from A to P, B to P. Now in order to analyze that path difference, simply we can say BP minus AP. And another method, so one light wave traveling from this point and reaching this point, another wave traveling from this point and reaching this point. The path difference between these two light waves in order to reach this point is equal to this distance minus this distance, that gives path difference. Another method, by plotting a right angle triangle at this point. Now I am going to plot a right angle triangle at this point. So here we can observe the right angle triangle at this point. Now defining the base of this right angled triangle, this base gives path difference. That base gives path difference. One wave, another wave, AP, BP, BP minus AP gives path difference. Or I am going to plot a perpendicular from A to BP. And joining A and B. Here we will get a right angled triangle. Let us say this angle is theta. Now in this right angled triangle, by defining this base, let us say BN. This BN gives path difference. In this right angle triangle, sin theta is equal to opposite side BN divided by AB. Now BN represents path difference, that is BN is equal to AB into sin theta. Therefore, here I am going to plot a perpendicular from A to BP. A to BP. Let us say AN with a perpendicular from A to BP. Let us say this angle is equal to theta. This angle. This angle is equal to theta. Try to understand this diagram. If this angle is equal to theta, then angle between AB and BN, or the angle BAN is also equal to theta. Let us say this point is C. If angle PCO is equal to theta, then angle BAN is also equal to theta, because here OC is perpendicular to AB. From geometry, OC is perpendicular to AB and PC is perpendicular to AN. OC is perpendicular to AB and PC is perpendicular to AN, like this. So OC perpendicular to AB and PC perpendicular to AB, then angle at this point and angle at this point, these two angles are same. Therefore, here if this angle is equal to theta, then this angle is equal to theta. So let us consider width of the slit is a small d. Small d represents width of the slit. Distance between single slit screen and observation screen. This distance is equal to capital D. Let us say capital D. Position of P from O. Let us say this distance is equal to x from center of the screen. Then write some brief explanation about this diagram. AB narrow slit, O central bright maximum. Maximum means bright fringe. Small d width of the slit. Capital D distance between single slit screen and observation screen. P be the point on the screen at an elevation theta. Now let us consider conditions for bright fringes and dark fringes in a single slit experiment. Conditions for secondary minima means plural, that is dark fringes. Why should we name those dark fringes as secondary minima? The dark fringes on the screen, that is due to superposition of the secondary wavelets, from the plane wavefront, and hence the dark fringes are known as secondary minima. In case of interference, the fringes are due to superposition of the light waves emitting from two coherent sources. Here bright fringes or dark fringes are due to superposition of the secondary wavelets, and hence name is secondary minima or secondary dark fringes. Then path difference is equal to so it is represented by delta x. See the conditions which are used for bright fringes in interference, those conditions are used for a dark fringes in case of diffraction of light. I will explain on what basis we are going to consider. So here already n is equal to 0 means that represents central bright maximum. N is equal to 1, minima means dark. The conditions for bright fringe in interference, path difference is even multiple of lambda by 2. Path difference is even multiple of lambda by 2, that is 2n lambda by 2. So here n is equal to 1, 2, 3, so on. If n is equal to 1, path difference is equal to lambda. If n is equal to 2, path difference is equal to 2 lambda. If n is equal to 3, path difference is equal to 3 lambda, so on. Up to 2n into lambda by 2, or this is equal to n lambda. For our understanding purpose, we have considered this one as a even multiple of lambda by 2. Now from this diagram, Bn represents path difference. Bn represents path difference. A, B, N, C, P, O. This distance is capital D. This distance is X. This distance is path difference, and this represents width of the slit, that is capital small d. If this angle is equal to theta, then this angle is also equal to theta, because this segment is parallel to AB and this segment is parallel to AN. Perpendicular to, this segment is perpendicular to AB and this segment is perpendicular to AN. Now from that diagram, here BN represents path difference. AP, BP. BP minus AP gives path difference R. In these two cases, by defining BN, or in case of this right angle triangle, by defining BN, that gives path difference. This one. Therefore, from diagram, path difference delta x is equal to Bn. So here I am going to define sin theta. Sin theta is equal to opposite side Bn, hypotenuse AB. Therefore Bn is equal to AB into sin theta. Bn is equal to AB into sin theta. This AB is nothing but small d, that is width of the slit. Bn is equal to d sin theta. Therefore Bn is equal to AB sin theta. This is equal to small d into sin theta. Delta x is equal to 1 multiple of lambda by 2. Delta x is equal to d sin theta. From these two equations, we can write. Therefore, d sin theta is equal to even multiple of lambda by 2, 2n into lambda by 2, or this is equal to n lambda. If suppose this angle theta is small, in trigonometry we are going to consider for small angle theta, sin theta is nearly equal to theta and tan theta is nearly equal to theta and cos theta is nearly equal to theta. If theta is small, if theta is small, then sin theta is nearly equal to theta. Therefore, this equation becomes d into theta is equal to n lambda, or theta is equal to n into lambda into capital D. This equation gives angular position of the secondary minima. N means angular position of the nth secondary minima. Then we can substitute the position of the dark fringes, like n is equal to 1 first dark, second dark, third dark, fourth dark, like that. Therefore, this equation gives angular position of the nth secondary minima. This gives angular position of nth secondary minima, dark fringes. Then Then how to find the height of this nth secondary minimum? So this is angular position, okay. If suppose if you want the position, that is height, now if this angle is equal to theta, then this angle is equal to theta. In this right angle triangle, sin theta is equal to bn by ab, bn is equal to ab sin theta, that is equal to d sin theta. Similarly, sin theta is equal to, in this right angle triangle, bn divided by ab. Sin theta is equal to bn divided by ab is equal to small d. For small angle, this sin theta is equal to theta, theta is equal to bn divided by d. In this right angle triangle. Now in this right angled triangle, I am going to define tan theta. Tan theta, 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 both are same. Opposite side divided by adjacent side, because we know that this segment and this segment. For that reason, I am going to prefer this tan trigonometric function in this right angle triangle. Tan theta is equal to opposite side, that is OP divided by base OC. Tan theta is equal to OP is equal to X, OC is equal to capital D. If suppose theta is small, then tan theta is also nearly equal to theta. Therefore, theta is equal to X divided by D. Sir, both are same. Theta is equal to Bn by D, theta is equal to X by D. Then we can write Bn by D. Bn by D is equal to X by D is equal to theta. In the place of theta, we can write Bn by D or X by D. While writing X by D, this X gives height of the nth secondary minima. X gives height of the nth secondary minima. Therefore, instead of theta, so here theta is equal to X by D is equal to n lambda divided by small t. Then X is equal to n into lambda into capital D divided by small d. So this gives height of the nth secondary minima. Height of the nth secondary minimum. So here lambda is nothing but wavelength of light. So don't write those all things in your examination, that is only for your understanding purpose. Why we are going to write theta is equal to X by D? That is the reason. From trigonometry we can write theta is equal to Bn by D in case of small angle, theta is equal to Bn by D or theta is equal to X by D, because both the angles are same. So here we know that capital D, small d, and the lambda is nothing but, so here lambda wavelength of light used. Then why should we get a dark fringe when path difference is equal to lambda? This is the reason. So this is not they will not ask in examination, but you should understand. So here, by considering this AB contains a large number of vibrating particles. Now let us consider vibrating particle A and vibrating particle B. Now according to this, we have written path difference is equal to lambda. That means if path difference between these two particles is equal to lambda. Now I am going to consider another vibrating particle at this point. Let us say C. Path difference between AB is lambda. Then what is the path difference between A and C? Lambda by 2. Path difference between A and C is lambda by 2, and path difference between C and B is lambda by 2. If you are going to consider 100 particles in between A and B, 1 to 50 path difference is lambda by 2. Obviously from 1 to 100 path difference is lambda. Now I am going to divide that 100 into 2 parts, 50-50. 1 to 50 path difference is lambda by 2. 50 to 100 path difference is lambda by 2. When path difference is lambda by 2, that gives dark region on the screen. When path difference is lambda by 2, that gives dark region on the screen. Or 0 to 50 is balanced by the particles 50 to 100. There is no extra vibrating particles to produce bright region on the screen. Therefore here path difference between 0 to 50 lambda by 2, 50 to 100 lambda by 2, and hence we will get a dark region. Even though when we are going to say path difference between A and B is lambda, because here we are not considering two coherent sources, we are considering many coherent sources. So that is the difference, main difference between interference and diffraction. So here lambda is path difference, means we will get dark region on the screen. Similarly 2 lambda, it is divided into 4 parts. Again there is no net particles to produce a bright region. 3 lambda, 6 parts. Again there is no net particles to produce a brighter spot on the screen. And hence these conditions yield dark spot on the screen. Those dark spots in case of diffraction are known as secondary minima, dark regions, dark fringes. These dark fringes are due to superposition of secondary wavelets, and hence we are going to name these fringes as secondary minima. For that reason we are going to write lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda. Okay? So these are the conditions for a secondary minima. This gives angular position of the nth secondary minima. This gives height of the nth secondary minima. That is from central bright maximum. Height of nth secondary minima from central bright maximum. And next one, conditions for secondary maxima. Conditions for secondary maxima. Maxima means bright. Maxima means bright fringes. These bright fringes are due to superposition of secondary wavelets, and hence these bright fringes are known as secondary maxima. Okay, I am going to stop here. Next class I am going to discuss about conditions for secondary maxima.